Okay, let's play a game.
I'm in.
Imagine you're holding a controller. You're at the character select screen of life. Now, usually we're trying to figure out the meta for happiness, right?
Yeah. The best builds, the best
The
strategies.
productivity hacks, the wellness buffs, how to win. But what if we flip the console?
Okay.
What if you wanted, and I mean specifically intentionally, to build the most miserable character possible?
A speed run to misery.
A speedrun to absolute despair.
Mm-hmm.
What are the cheat codes you would enter to guarantee a terrible existence?
That is a twisted thought experiment, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly revealing. It's the whole concept of inversion.
Inversion.
Yeah. Instead of asking how to solve a problem, you ask, how do I cause it? Or how do I make it worse? If you know exactly how to crash the car, you know exactly what not to do.
You know how to drive it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that is the vibe for this deep dive. We are unpacking 7 tactics for sailing the sea of sadness.
And this is based on some really brilliant work by Dr. Randy J. Patterson in How to Be Miserable.
It is. And I have to say, this is not your standard live, laugh, love self-help lecture.
Yeah.
This is a strategy guide for the worst possible outcome.
It really is. It's a manual for misery. It's like reverse engineering the human psyche to find all the breakage points.
Right.
The premise is that misery isn't always something that just, happens to us like bad weather. Often, it's the result of these very specific, high-level strategies that we execute perfectly.
We just don't realize we're running the program.
We don't even know the program is running.
That's the aha moment. So we're going to map out these 7 tactics. And the mission here is, I think, visibility. If you can see the trap clearly.
If you know the mechanics.
Yes, if you know the exact mechanics of how to build a sadness engine, then you know exactly which wires to cut to shut it down.
Right. It's about diagnosing your own gameplay. You might be listening to this and realize, wait a minute, I'm not just unlucky, I'm actually a grandmaster at tactic number 3.
Totally. So buckle up. We are going to walk through the ultimate build for a miserable life. Tactic number 1, the foundational stat.
The absolute base layer.
If you want to be miserable, you have to master the art of stagnation.
The directive here is deceptively simple. Don't move.
Yeah.
Ever.
The source material uses this visceral image that I just cannot get out of my head. It says if you really want to commit to the bit, you need to become human laundry.
Human laundry. It's perfect, isn't it?
It's so...
You know that pile of clothes on the chair? It's not dirty enough for the wash, not clean enough to put away. It just sits there collecting dust, holding its shape, but, doing nothing.
That's the physical state you're aiming for.
That is the goal.
It's so passive. But the source argues that this passivity is actually a form of active destruction.
Yeah.
Why is this number 1? Why is stillness the anchor for misery?
It comes down to the feedback loop between your biology and your psychology. We tend to think, oh, I feel depressed, so I don't want to move. And that's true.
Sure.
But the reverse is also like a biological law. I am not moving, therefore I must be depressed.
You're hacking the system in the worst possible way.
Exactly. When you become human laundry, you are effectively starving your brain. Your brain is designed to navigate an environment. When you move, you release dopamine, endorphins, serotonin.
All the reward chemicals.
The good stuff. By staying still, you cut off the supply line.
So you're shutting down the chemical factory that produces the feeling of good.
You are creating a drought. There's a concept in clinical psychology called behavioral activation.
Okay.
It's the idea that doing things leads to feeling things. If you delete the doing, you delete the feelings of agency, you turn your room into a one-man island.
And the result isn't even a sharp, tragic pain. The source calls it a dull ache of stagnation.
That's the vibe. It's low-level background radiation. You feel heavy. You feel encumbered. If life is a game, you've just equipped the heaviest armor with 0 stats, and now you're wondering why you can't jump.
Okay, so we've nerfed our movement speed to 0. We are the laundry pile. Now, to really lock in the misery, we need to mess with the hardware. Tactic number 2, chronobiological chaos.
Or, to put it simply, destroy the consistency of your sleep.
Now, everyone knows sleep is good. We hear that all the time.
Yeah.
But this tactic is more specific. It's not just about, deprivation.
No, it's about randomization.
Right.
It's about introducing RNG random number generation to your body clock. The tactic is to vary your bedtime and wake time wildly. One night you're up until 4 a.m.
Grinding a game or binging a series.
The next you crash at 8 p.m., the next you sleep until noon.
And here is the trap, because the source points out a specific lie we tell ourselves to justify this. The lie of catching up.
The sleep bank fallacy.
I am so guilty of this.
Well,
I'll just burn the candle at both ends Monday through Friday, and then I'll sleep for, 14 hours on Saturday, and we'll be even.
and it never works, does it? You wake up feeling like you've been hit by a truck.
Always. I feel groggy, disoriented. It's almost worse than not sleeping enough.
That's because it is worse in some ways. A source calls this social jet lag.
Social jet lag.
Yeah, your body has a circadian rhythm, a strict internal clock that regulates hormones like melatonin and cortisol. When you swing your schedule around by 4 or 5 hours, you're essentially flying from New York to London and back every couple of
No.
days.
Jet lag without the travel. That is such a depressing concept. You get all the exhaustion and none of the frequent flyer miles.
Precisely. And when your circadian rhythm is confused, you don't get deep restorative sleep, you get junk sleep. The result is this permanent cognitive fog. You become irritable, your emotional regulation just falls apart.
It destabilizes the foundation. So if Tactic 1 removes your fuel, Tactic 2 scrambles your operating system. You're running on buggy firmware.
And that makes you perfectly vulnerable to tactic number 3. This is the one that I think hits closest to home for, well, basically everyone listening.
Tactic 3, the blue light trap.
Or, as the source calls it, glow under the screen's light.
Yeah.
Screens are described here as misery magnets. But again, we have to look at the specific strategies. Not just using a phone, it's about when you use it.
The bookends.
The bookends of your existence. Last thing you see at night, and the first thing you see in the morning.
Let's talk about the morning, because that is the most efficient way to ruin a day before it even starts.
Oh, it's a classic move. Alarm goes off. One eye open.
Right.
Grab the phone. And doom scroll for 20 minutes before you even sit up. Think about what that does to your brain. You are in this transition state, waking up, your defenses are down. By plugging immediately into the feed, you are outsourcing your emotional state to an algorithm.
That is a terrifying phrase.
Yeah.
Outsourcing your emotions.
But it's accurate. You wake up, and if the algorithm shows you a war, you're anxious. If it shows you an influencer's perfect vacation, you're envious.
If it shows you a political scandal, you're angry.
And you haven't even brushed your teeth, and your mood has already been decided by a server in Silicon Valley.
You've lost the initiative.
Yeah.
You're playing defense from minute 1.
Exactly. You are reacting, not acting. The source mentions that this steals moments of serenity, those quiet moments in the morning where you just exist. They're gone.
And the source suggests a bonus tactic for the nighttime, too.
Oh, yes. The anxiety binge. The instruction is to consume conflict-heavy, fear-inducing news right before you try to sleep.
Just to make sure your brain is spinning with threat detection.
It blocks the path to calm. It ensures there is no quiet space left in your head. It's just noise, 204/7.
So let's recap the build so far. We are physically stagnant, we are biologically confused from sleep chaos, and we are digitally addicted to other people's noise. Now, we need to upgrade the software, adjust the mindset. Tactic 4 is the outrage loop.
Feed your negative emotions. This is all about attention management. If you want to be miserable, you must focus obsessively on the uncontrollable.
The uncontrollable, that's the key.
It is. The strategy is to let headlines stoke outrage, let comments fuel envy, and let fear just dominate your internal monologue. But the source makes a brilliant distinction here.
What's that?
Between being informed and being empowered.
This is a really important nuance, because I think a lot of us doom scroll under the guise of being good citizens. We tell ourselves, I have to watch this disaster unfold because I need to be informed.
Right. It feels virtuous, but the source argues that if you are just stewing in frustration about things you can't influence, you aren't empowered. You're just overwhelmed.
It's a difference between prepping for a storm and just standing in the rain screaming at the clouds.
Perfect analogy. In psychology, we talk about the circle of control. If you focus entirely on the things outside that circle, global politics, the economy, what some stranger said on Twitter, your sense of agency just shrinks. You feel small. You feel helpless.
And that's the goal of the misery build. Learned helplessness. You want to feel like a cork bobbing in the ocean, totally at the mercy of the waves.
You are stewing, as the text says, just sitting there, getting hotter and hotter, burning energy, but the engine isn't connected to the wheels. You're going nowhere.
Okay, so we're paralyzed, tired, angry, and helpless. Now let's look at how we treat our own ambitions. Because even a miserable person has dreams, right?
Tactic number 5. The setup for failure. This is about how to weaponize goal setting against yourself.
Usually we hear about smart, goal-specific, measurable, all that. I assume we are throwing that out the window.
Burn the manual. If you want to be miserable, you must pursue vague, unattainable goals.
Give me an example.
I want to be a legend.
Okay.
I want to change the world. I want to be successful.
But those sound inspirational. Like, shouldn't we shoot for the moon?
Dreaming big is fine if you have a ladder. But the misery tactic is to demand the result without defining the path. If your goal is be successful, how do you know when you've done it?
You don't. The goalpost keeps moving.
Exactly. You wake up on a Tuesday, you go to work, you answer emails, you come home. Did you change the world today? Probably not in a cinematic way. So your brain registers that day as a failure.
It denies you the dopamine hit of progress.
Yes. This is the dopamine prediction error. Your brain needs to see incremental progress to feel good. By making the goal abstract and massive, you ensure you never see progress. You're just wandering a map with no waypoints.
It's like trying to complete a quest in a game, but the quest log just says, be awesome. And there's no arrow on the minimap.
You're just running in circles, feeling inadequate because you haven't leveled up.
Wow.
And that triggers immediate self-loathing. You feel like you're falling behind, but you don't even know what race you're running. You are constantly waiting for a success that will never arrive because you never defined it.
So we've set ourselves up to fail. Now, what happens when we actually do experience something good? Because even in a miserable life, good things happen. How do we ruin those?
Tactic number 6, the euphoria myth. This is the trap of chasing the mirage of constant happiness.
This feels like a very modern problem, the Instagram effect.
It is. In the Misery Strategy Guide, you redefine happiness. You decide that happiness equals perpetual bliss. If you aren't ecstatic, if you aren't 10 out of 10 vibrating with joy every single moment, then something is wrong.
That sounds exhausting and like mathematically impossible.
It is impossible. We have something called the hedonic treadmill. Humans are designed to return to a baseline, but the consequence of believing this myth is you devalue reality. The source puts it beautifully. You overlook the small joys that quietly land on your deck.
I love that imagery. The little birds.
Right. A good cup of coffee, a laugh with a friend, a cool breeze.
It's a little thing.
Exactly. But if you are scanning the horizon for the euphoria super yacht, that massive life-changing moment of pure bliss, you don't notice the little birds. You might be having a perfectly lovely Tuesday, but because it isn't movie star exciting, you log it as a disappointment.
So the math here is unrealistic expectations equals guaranteed misery.
Every single time. If your baseline requirement is ecstasy, then contentment feels like failure. And since contentment is actually achievable and sustainable, destroying contentment is a high-priority tactic for misery.
You rob yourself of the present moment.
Because you're demanding a fantasy.
We are almost at the end of our misery manifesto. We've destroyed our body, our sleep, our focus, our agency, our goals, and our joy. Tactic number 7 is the final nail in the coffin.
The path of least resistance.
Follow your darkest instincts.
This is the instruction to trust every impulse that drags you down.
This sounds like giving in to the aided, the toddler in the brain.
It is. It's listening to the voice that says, hey, skip the workout. Don't call your mom. It'll take too long.
You deserve that entire pizza at midnight.
Leave the dishes for tomorrow.
Yeah. The source describes these impulses as a magnetic pull toward despair. And it really does feel like gravity, doesn't it? It is always easier not to do the healthy thing.
That's why it's the path of least resistance. It's about discounting the future. The primitive part of your brain wants comfort now. It doesn't care about you in a month.
Right.
The prefrontal cortex, the planner, the part that builds a good life, wants you to do the hard thing for a later reward.
But the misery tactic is to silence the planner and let the toddler drive the car.
Just go with the flow. Surrender to the drift. And here's the harsh truth. Entropy is real. If you stop steering the ship, the current will naturally take you to the rocks. Things fall apart if you don't actively put them together.
So let's step back and look at the character build we've created.
Let's say the avatar.
Our avatar. We are a human laundry pile who never moves. We are socially jet-lagged and exhausted. We doom scroll 24/7 to outsource our emotions. We obsess over global tragedies we can't fix. We chase vague, impossible goals and hate ourselves for missing them. We demand constant euphoria and ignore small joys.
And finally, we give in to every single lazy impulse.
That is the ultimate build.
That is the meta. If you execute those 7 tactics, you have successfully mastered the art of sadness. You will feel terrible, guaranteed.
It's funny, when you list them all out like that, it's terrifyingly familiar. I think I've played this character before.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've spent whole years of my life running this script.
We all have. And that's the twist the source material leads us to. That's the payoff. The conclusion is, understanding the trap is the first step to escaping it.
Right, because once you see these things as tactics, as specific inputs that lead to a specific output, you realize you have control.
You have agency.
You aren't just cursed with a bad move. You aren't just broken. You're running a bad program.
Exactly. Now that the ropes holding the anchor are visible, the laundry pile, the screen glow, the vague goals, you know exactly which ones to cut. You can reverse engineer the reverse engineering.
It shifts the perspective from, why is this happening to me, to, oh, I see, I pressed the stay up all night button, and that triggered the feel terrible event.
It turns life from a mystery into a mechanic. And mechanics can be adjusted. You don't have to fix everything at once. You just have to look at the list and say, okay, today I am going to violate tactic number 3.
Just one change. Break the combo.
Break the combo. If you interrupt the pattern, you start steering the ship back toward calm waters. If you move your body, you break tactic 1. If you turn off the phone, you break tactic 3. You reclaim your agency.
I want to leave everyone with a final thought to mull over. We've talked about these 7 tactics as if they are a game you play. But think about your own gameplay right now. Look at your own stats. In the game of life, are you actively steering the ship?
Or have you accidentally set the autopilot to despair?
It's a question of agency. Are you the captain, or are you just driftwood?
Check your settings, everyone. Maybe it's time to remap your controls. Thanks for diving deep with us today.
Safe sailing.
Catch you on the next run.